Personal story segment tonight. Last Saturday, Mitt Romney was approached by an unemployed woman in Sumter, South Carolina. She told him she was having a very hard time, and the governor gave her some money.
And then he went in his pocketbook and he got money and he paid for my light bill. You know, it's ironic that this day would be Martin Luther King birthday, and I know a lot of people wonder why I'm black and I'm going for a Mormon, but it's got nothing to do with that. I think Martin Luther King, his main thing that he said today was not to judge a person by the color of their skin, but by the context of their character.
Well, you would think that that would qualify as a good deed for Governor Romney. Not so fast.
As an African-American woman, it galls me. I don't even like to watch it. I felt like it plays into every sort of patronizing stereotype of black people.
Wow. Joining us now from Tampa, Florida, Dr. Marc Lamont Hill teaches at Columbia University. So, you know, it just, I don't know, Hill, you know, the governor helps a woman out. The woman appreciates it very much. And there you have this pinhead from the Miami Herald saying that it's a racial stereotype. And you say?
Well, I don't want to call her a pinhead. What I will say is I slightly disagree with her. I don't think that Mitt Romney's decision to give her money was bad in and of itself. In fact, what else do you do? I mean, if he ignores the woman or tells her to go get a job, he'd be blasted for being cruel to the poor, as he already has been for the last few weeks. So I think he did the right thing by giving her money. The question, though, is how does this story get taken up? There's a very old narrative that's woven by Republicans that equates poverty to race, and they darken the face of poverty to make it marginal and irrelevant to people. That's the issue, and that's how the story's been taken up. And it's also about Mitt Romney's own history with killing jobs. I mean, it's great for him to have this largesse personally, but if as a president he enacts policy that does the opposite, then, you know, what good is an individual act? Well,
it, you know, remains to be seen if Mr. Romney created jobs or didn't. So nobody knows right now, and everybody's analyzing now. We're going to have Megyn Kelly coming up behind you. But let's get back to the issue at hand. This person from the Miami Herald could not, all right, even give credit in such a simple charitable act because of her racial animus, I believe, and her political fanaticism. Why else? Well, look, why else? No, I guarantee that if I went to your class and I explained to your class what Romney did, even at Columbia University, 95% would have said just what you said. It was an act of charity and it was a good thing, but not that person. And I'm getting real concerned with the level of hatred toward political candidates. It does cut both ways, there's no doubt.
I think I'm more concerned with the level of hatred of Republican presidential candidates toward the poor. When you have this string of conversations about
we just saw a generous act by the leader of the Republicans right now, Romney, and now you're concerned about that. I don't see it. I don't understand it.
There's some who would beg to differ that he's the leader of the Republicans, but it's not about the individual act of charity. It's how does he project his vision for creating jobs? How does he project his image of how the nation should treat the poor? Helping one individual person is great, but if you have a disposition toward the poor that says we should have them clean toilets, as Newt Gingrich says, or you don't have any sense that we need structural change, not individual charity, then who cares about giving $50 to the woman? I think it was great that Mitt Romney did that, but it's not enough, Bill. It's absolutely
but
not enough.
I don't think you're being fair to Mitt Romney at all, because Mitt Romney is running as a job creator and did that in Massachusetts. Now, let's go to the Gingrich comment. Mr. Gingrich, obviously, and he was given a standing ovation for saying so, is wanting to create jobs and a so-called work ethic. That's what he says he wants to do for everybody.
That's racist.
For everybody. That's racist.
First of all,
that's racist.
the conversation hasn't been around everybody. It's been around urban people, and you know, urban is a secret agent talk for poor black and brown people.
Well, the unemployment rate among blacks is much higher than whites, and in the inner city is much higher than any place else. So, I mean, of course, the discussion about jobs is going to be centered there.
Yeah, but here's the difference. When we talk about poor, unemployed mechanics in West Virginia, when we're talking about the quote-unquote bubbas who are unemployed, we assume that the government has failed them. We assume that the economy is broken. We don't question their work ethic. The fact is, poor people work harder than anybody else. The problem here isn't that poor people don't work hard. The problem here isn't that inner-city people don't work hard. The problem is that they don't have living wages or access to quality jobs.
You know, I see it a little bit differently, and we don't have time to debate this, but I'll bring you back. I think the problem among some poor people are bad role models and no supervision for the children in a poor educational system where they aren't taught the value of education and they aren't taught the value of hard work. It's a chaotic existence in many of these precincts, and you know it.
Bill, if you look at the uber wealthy, there's not exactly a hard work ethic. You know what I mean? When you look all around the globe, you can find sectors
I don't care about the uber wealthy. I just want poor people to prosper and get non-poor. I want them to get elevated. And one of the reasons they're held back is because they don't have role models showing them the way out. I'll give you the last word.
The last word is untrue. What you just said is simply untrue.
Untrue?
There are plenty
I
of role
taught
models
in inner city school. It's not untrue.
That's fine.
I saw it.
That's fine.
Bad parents constricted the kids and all day long. I saw it with my own eyes. You can't tell me it's not true. I taught those kids.
I've taught those kids too, and I can't say what you saw 30, 40 years ago when you taught in an inner city school, but what I can say is every day poor people work hard, they have role models, they struggle, the month is simply lasting longer than their money. It's because of structural issues,
Everybody's circumstance is different. There's no general circumstance, but I think you guys are
That's why we can't use your anecdote. That's why we can't rely on your anecdotes, Bill, because every circumstance is different.
You're seeing racism where it's a policy difference, not a racial animus.
Saying poor black people don't work hard is racist.
All right. Plenty more ahead as a factor.